2009 CE on the Gregorian calendar. This was an interesting year, for me at least. I had passed my SHSAT exams. Overnight, I went from a social outcast to the person everyone and their parents wanted to talk to. I convinced my mom to get me an iPhone 3GS on a contract, broke life. And most importantly, Secret Girlfriend came out. Yes, there was a tragedy involving Wilbur and Orville's heavier-than-air aircraft that resulted in 228 casualties, but Barack Obama was inaugurated as President of the United States.
Faithfully, the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States, faithfully.
People often say you have to take the good with the bad, and I think those people are full of crap. Year after year, it's always bad on top of bad, with the public discourse usually sounding something like, next month is your month, or next year is yours. Like, damn, I'm tired of waiting for the good that is always right around the corner, but never on my block. With all that being said, there was a small light at the end of the tunnel, and that light was, drumroll please, Secret Girlfriend. Part 1, A Critical Lens. Allow me to set the scene for you. Television was just starting to go HD. You were too young to understand and appreciate the masterful series that is South Park, but also too old to be fooled by Cartoon Network's glossy marketing or their crappy live action shows. As an aside, what board of directors approved a fully live action programming block on a network called Cartoon freaking Network? I can try to understand, but I still don't, even after all these years. But I digress. The smartphone was still finishing up its doctorate program, YouTube was still in its infancy, and content as a whole just felt fresh. What I mean by fresh is not necessarily only new ideas. Rather, I mean shows that execute their ideas in ways that stay with you. Whether it's a character's mannerisms, the color palette of the shots, the composition, or even the motifs. When a showrunner can create a moment or a scene and bring it to life in a way that stays in your mind long after the show is over, that is fresh. Today's TV programs just don't bring that freshness to the table. For your reference, I consider Mr. Robot to be incredibly fresh. Not only is the shot composition exceptional, making phenomenal use of visual storytelling, but the actual plot is refined and involved. Granted, It's the wrong video, man. Oh, yeah. Sorry, but before I go on, I want to remark that the polar opposite of Mr. Robot in all the worst ways is Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale. That travesty of a show deserves its own sleep paralysis hallucination examination. But again, I'm getting too far from the subject at hand. I have a lot of opinions about television and movies, so you'll have to excuse me if I get sidetracked, which I will do. Get sidetracked, I mean. What was I talking about again? Right, yes. So you're sitting in your living room, eyes glued to your shitty CRT television set, and suddenly, it is happening. Your adolescent brain is being 4950 Gmall spec'd by big titties and naked butts, and before you can even take in the dialogue, there's a hot girl mounting your screen and giggling. Then, the intro music drops.
Welcome to Secret Girlfriend, the first show starring you. These are your friends. This is your ex. This is the girl you're hiding from your ex. Secret Girlfriend, welcome to your world.
This is my critical lens. You have now experienced Secret Girlfriend like I did for the first time. You have now felt what I feel. This is my design. With this, hopefully, you'll be able to conceptualize why I love this show so friggin' much, and why it left such a lasting impact on me. Also, be sure to keep my critical lens in mind as I review each episode and provide analysis. Alright, enough padding and procrastination, let's get into the meat of it. Part 2. The meat. Can I do an Arby's joke? No. Oh, come on. Pretty please with THC sprinkles on top? Fine, but you'll have to include Dienda. Dienda? I don't know what that is. What's Dienda? Dienda my dude!
Arby's, we have the meat.
What is Secret Girlfriend? Well, we know it's a show, and that it was released in 2009. Let's see what else Wikipedia can tell us. Okay. American sitcom on Comedy Central, which aired from October 7th until November 9th. Originated as a web series created by John Rondot and Ross Novi. Here we go. Reception. This is always the best part of any Wikipedia page. There is consistent, thoughtful feedback under this section, and I had been on the fence about doing this waking nightmare of an essay, but it was these comments that just fucking pushed me over the edge. Reading these critical nobodies' absolute rubbish opinions on this show made one thing painfully clear. Secret Girlfriend was slighted by history. Okay. Let me actually read some of Matthew's review. Quote unquote. The 20-something hero of Secret Girlfriend is so passive and disconnected. He's a comic, or sad, or wise, or overly careful, or tragically empty figure. Maybe he's getting ready to leave his prolonged adolescence behind. Maybe he's coming of age, like so many of the slacker heroes in Judd Apatow movies. That's where the show finds its most engaging subject matter, in the tiny, telling glimpses of the man behind the curtain. Ultimately, I want to know more about you, not them. Maddie, baby, Bubby, check me out, yeah? You know of this small, relatively unheard of company called Valve? It's fine if you've never heard of them. But a long time ago, they released this indie cult classic by the name of Half-Life. This first-person shooter featured what has become known as a silent protagonist, whose name is Gordon Freeman. And despite his never saying a word throughout the entire Half-Life franchise, he is still one of the most popular and easily recognizable characters in gaming history. Wait, I'm doing it again. Getting sidetracked. Let's just start talking about episode 1. I'm not done responding to the critical reactions the series has received. I'll be back for you, Pony Wozik, if that's even your real name. Within the first 2 minutes, we are introduced to a majority of the main cast. The first person we meet is Mandy, our crazy, but also hot, but also batshit nutso, ex-girlfriend. She mentions dating a DJ, boast about future inaccessibility to her lady parts, and then proceeds to engage you in some not makeup, post-breakup, breakup sex. Trademark. Right off the bat, Mandy's character is established. She will clearly be the show's driving antagonistic force, and things will either focus on avoiding her or placating her. Once the intro finishes rolling, we get to meet our partners in crime. The show raises a philosophical question of paramount importance. Is masturbating gay? It's a legitimate inquiry and it deserves to be explored. How can you even be sure that it's your own genitals that you're touching? Anyway, Sam uses our new single status to goad us into going flytrap fishing. Things aren't going well. After some unsuccessful bar hopping, we are able to swindle these dumb broads to follow us home to pump them full of wine coolers, chlorine, and semen. Got a little carried away with the rule of threes there? Hey, so, future face here. Renee just told me that line could come off as chauvinistic, and I just want to let everybody know I'm being satirical. Just joking. JK, LOL. I also want to emphasize two important pieces of dialogue that take place. The first being right before the bang bus pulls up next to you, Phil tells Sam that this bar he wants to go to, called Whittles, has been closed for 3 years. This, along with Sam admitting he wasn't able to get laid before the internet, which is probably hyperbole, but it supports my perspective, helps us understand who falls where in this hierarchy of the friendship. Clearly, Sam is at the bottom, mostly due to his inability to pick up girls. But we'll get back to Sam and you later on. The second piece of important dialogue starts to build a case against the critical reception of the show. When Phil demands you go on the beer run, he comments,
"Don't make a face, bro. Just go. Score some wine cooler."
Which establishes that you do have reactions to the events taking place around you. We will come back to this later as well. Also, the more I rewatch the show, I keep noticing small things that make this world feel like it could plausibly be ours, or at the very least a reality that could exist very similarly to ours. I'll point out some of those moments as they happen. After some cardio, we find a liquor store that's still open. We proceed to perv on Jessica, who I would argue is the female protagonist, but then the last episode happened, so... Anyway, she helpfully reminds us where her boobs are, not knowing we are fully licensed federal booty inspectors. And then Tiffany Haddish, I know, right, blows up Jessica's spot by calling attention to how attractive you are. Okay, break. It's my understanding that a common complaint of the narrative is that you seem to be irresistibly attractive despite seemingly never doing anything. I do not agree that this is an accurate assessment, but I wanted to use this scene to help illustrate why the show does a fantastic job of showing, not telling. If you notice, the two extras standing next to Haddish are eyeing you and smiling. Small, understated character actions like this go a long way in creating an anchor of believability in the middle of a suspension of disbelief storm. And it's worth noting that these are intentional decisions. Sure, one could write it off as generic male wish fulfillment, but again, I do not agree with that premise or most of the arguments that follow it. Ah, shit. I got distracted. Again. You get Jessica's number, and on your way back, Mandy sends you a text letting you know she wants to unbreak up. She probably really enjoyed the not makeup, post-breakup, breakup sex, trademark. You get back home, and the girls are gone. Sam has a camcorder in his hand. He gives you Brianna's number. While you were gone, though, Sam and Phil recorded their Forkhead video, which I'll just let it speak for itself.
Forkhead.
Fun fact, sticking a fork in your head actually does not give you synesthesia, but it will make future haircuts a little awkward. Your iPhone goes off, and who is it? It's Jessica. This is another great moment of showing and not telling. Jessica is a cutie pie, no question about it. The fact that she texts you 20 minutes after exchanging information as opposed to the next day or 2 days later helps speak volumes to how attractive your character really is, without just directly telling you in every scene. The next day, we're with Sam and Phil doing a casting call for their video, Toasterhead. You can probably guess where this is going. And here we see a good characterization of Phil. In the last sequence, we are introduced to Sam's desperation. In this one, we get a glimpse of Phil's MO and how he tricks women into sleeping with him. We don't see it until the end, but when all of the girls are about to leave the apartment because the guys weren't going to pay them for being half naked in their viral video, Phil offers up a proposition. A crap one, but a proposition no less.
How about I touch your boobs? All right, that's the best I could do. The offer was on the table.
This may come off as nothing but a crass joke, but it's important to acknowledge that Phil was not kidding. He is being completely serious. In his mind, getting to touch a woman's boobs as recompense for her participation in their project is a fair deal to him. This isn't enough evidence on its own, but it does start to paint a clear picture of the type of person Phil is. Sam is desperate and pathetic, whereas Phil is desperate and shameless. We'll see both of their personalities fleshed out more in the following episodes. You meet up with Jessica, go back to your apartment where she shows us how much of a gamer girl she is. You drop her back off at your place, where she's super tempted to invite you in, but says she can't because it's a long story. Spoiler, it's not. So, like the silent protag gentleman you are, you head back home with no incident. Well, that is until you walk into your apartment to see not only your weird chimp doll, but also your super weird ex-girlfriend sitting naked, cuddling a guitar. She plays you this original composition.
Please take me back. My heart is so pink and empty, but not as pink and empty as my poo.
And you kick her out accordingly. The next day starts with Sam tasering Phil in the face and calling you out of panic. Once Phil returns to the conscious realm, things appear to settle down. Sam invites you to go sniff some butt later in the night. But oddly enough, when you get there, it's not the boys who are there, but Jessica. Thus far, Mandy has broken into your apartment and weaponized sex against you on several occasions. But tonight, you'll get to witness her true psychosis on display. Brianna, or Pool Girl, conveniently pulls up on you moments after Jessica excuses herself to the ladies' room. Mandy was inexplicably already there. They exchange words with each other over who is allowed to talk to you, and then a full-on brawl ensues. Once that... Talk about Mandy some more. I keep getting distracted, as it were. We're not even 10 minutes into the first episode. Why do you want me to talk about her? Because of the cool and subtle character interaction in this scene. Ugh. Mandy's being there wasn't inexplicable, like I said before. As it seems, you had told her you were going out with the guys, which Sam had mentioned as well. After Jessica excuses herself, Mandy intercepts and starts berating you for having slipped up. Now, allow me to explain why I think this is a tightly written scene. If you're vigilant, you'll notice Mandy in the background talking to blue shirt, big hair guy, while Jessica is still in front of you. You'll also notice Jessica and Brianna have tops that are similar in color and similar hairstyles, from the back and sides at least. My working theory is that Mandy was watching you talk to Jessica, used her absence to intercept your company, and when Brianna rolls around, Mandy mistakenly believes that Brianna is Jessica, hence the ante being upped so quickly. Granted, Pool Girl was being kind of sassy, but does that mean she deserved to have her face smashed in with a pool cue? No, I don't think so. I like how in that last line, I sound like a totally reasonable person. Like I'm not making this hours long series critically analyzing this 12-year-old television show. By the way, Mandy definitely committed assault with a deadly weapon in front of at least 20 witnesses. The show glosses over that and Pool Girl is never seen again, and I'm sure that's not suspicious at all. After another night of blue balls with Jessica, we wake up the next day with Mandy in our bed, looking a little worse for wear. But considering she may or may not have murdered an innocent woman last night, the scratches on her face are probably the least of her worries. Jessica sends you a breakfast text, and Mandy nervously tries to inquire if that is your secret girlfriend. Roll credits! Which, no, it isn't. You actually haven't even gotten to first base with Jessica, so as of right now, you guys are literally just friends. And for the last scene in the first half of episode 1, well, let's just say things come back full circle. I'm going to let Sam and Phil speak for themselves on this one.
Sup? Dude, put your dick away. I need to check my email.
Why does your dick have to be out to check your email?
To your move.
Let's move on. Part 2 of episode 2 starts off with what is one of the more jarring scenes in the whole series. You and Mandy are walking through a lingerie shop and she tells you that it's fate that you two keep ending up together. It's actually not. She keeps stalking you and breaking into your apartment for sex. But yeah, she takes off the bra she had on and is apparently getting ready to try on a new one when she's stopped by a retail girl who asks her to use the changing rooms. Mandy obliges, but not before being hella rude, and then proceeds to drop the neck on you while some kid who couldn't be older than 16 watches with amazement. Can we just talk about this kid for a second though? If you look here, you'll notice he's walking with a woman, so originally I thought, okay, he's here shopping with his girlfriend, this is her boyfriend, he's probably stressed out about the shopping. But when I do a zoom and enhance, you can see she's actually considerably older, probably his mom or his aunt's age. So what the hell? Is he helping his mom pick sexy outfits? Did he just get dragged along? And if he's a sugar baby, why is he so damn young? I have questions and I'm probably never going to get answers for them. What follows is one of the unintentionally funniest scenes in the series.
Uh-oh, now it's a scared baby. So scared, Sammy. Dude, what is she doing here?
Hey, Mandy.
This is a closed set. Thought you two broke up.
Oh, wow, nice new bra. I love it.
Aw, thanks, Sammy. Why did you have tape over your mouth?
He's playing a baby who can talk. I've green screened his mouth so I can dub in the funny stuff later.
But he can talk.
That's what I keep saying.
Go ahead then. Guy
Right.
dressed as a baby talking
go.
out of his own actual mouth hole.
All right.
And action.
Hold on, taking a leak. Okay, what's my line again?
Sam is playing the role of a baby who can talk. And even though he can talk, Phil has decided to put green tape over his mouth to be able to dub in the funny stuff later. Sam is given the chance to shine on his own, and he begins to pee his diaper and then forget his line. Hilarious. You and the boys discuss the ramifications of dating Mandy again. And here is where the silent protagonist role has its first real glaring issue. You never give Mandy any confirmation that you two are a couple again, but presumably giving her hard dick is your way of saying yes. I suppose when Phil tells you to re-dump her ASAP, that's the writer's way of telling the viewer that you consented to reigniting your relationship with Mandy. Sam notes that Mandy is not only rich, but also has good penmanship. Phil retorts that she is insane in the membrane, which he is not wrong. Remember that murder? It's okay if you didn't. The show didn't. You know who does remember? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Remember those sweet, warm New England summers? Remember sipping lemonade underneath a shady tree? Remember when you hit that pedestrian with your car at the crosswalk and then just drove away? Pepperidge Farm remembers. But Pepperidge Farm ain't just going to keep it to Pepperidge Farm self free of charge. Maybe you go out and buy yourself some of these distinctive Milano cookies. Maybe this whole thing just disappears.
What the hell? Was that a Family Guy cutaway? Anyways, you and the guys make your way to a strip club with an amazing buffet. one of the servers tells your group that there is no plate sharing. And yes, Sam and Phil definitely do give plate sharing vibes. You enjoy some delicious looking chicken wings, and then get an invitation from Jessica for some kegs and kickball, which, by the way, sounds like a kick-ass time. The last time I got to play kickball was in 5th grade, but I also played it every day I could from kindergarten until 5th grade. I used to shout calls until my voice was gone. Those were genuinely some of the best and simplest times of my life. So this kegs and kickball event sounds sick as fuck. After you grab a lap dance, you head over to the field for a game of Jap baseball.
129 years ago, my great-great-grandpa, Prescott Rothschild Onceler, sailed to Wusheng, China. The local monks had invented a game similar to baseball, except it involved a red rubber ball and a lot of kicking. He originally called it Jap baseball because he didn't know what country he was in and didn't care. He brought the sport back to America where the liberal PC bitchasses renamed it kickball.
The game ends, for you, when Jessica nails you in the face and then offers to make it up to you. The show tries to red herring us for a second, making us believe that we used the incident to get sex out of her, but it was actually Dio. Fuck. Oh, God. I mean, Mandy. During your perv run, Phil tells you to get over to the strip club, called Benny's, so he can exposit his newest scheme. Skip to a sushi rendezvous with Jessica, and it's interrupted by Phil and Sam asking you to run them an errand. This leads to you getting stopped by a traffic officer and then scoping out hot yoga neighbor for the first time, but definitely not the last. Phil unsuccessfully pitches his baby Sam idea to the club owner, and then Sam blows up your spot when Mandy, who has once again tracked you down like a bloodhound, is alerted to your position because this fat fuck wants to be friendly. As per usual, with Mandy scenes, things go off the rails pretty quickly. She starts a dance battle with a stripper, whom she affectionately refers to as Strippy.
Isn't about you, Strippy?
Phil tries to make off with a tray of meatballs, and Sam commandeers the temporarily vacated DJ booth. This all culminates with you and your boys being tossed out of the club and each of you being threatened with an involuntary orchiectomy. Orchiectomy? Orchiectomy? Hold on.
Orchiectomy.
Right, that. Mandy takes your reaction to her dancing, in her words, the way you were looking at me, as confirmation that the relationship is back on. Phil and Sam are unenthused, to say the least. This episode ends with you, Phil, and Sam in the car in front of Benny's. You guys sent Jessica in there for a gathering mission, and she returns successful. A nice callback to the scene before this. Jessica remarks that the food is amazing, and that it all starts with good bread, pleasing both Sam and Phil. On to episode 2. We open up with a beach scene in which it is established that you and Mandy's relationship is no more, but she is glad things can be civil between you two. Sam is attacked by some seaweed and effectively neutralizes the whole crew's chances of getting to sleep with some European models. Also, can someone tell me what Phil says underneath the censor? I thought he was saying ass, but his mouth isn't making those movements. It almost looks like he says dick, but that doesn't make any sense. Sam, with his newfound appreciation for life, goes skydiving with you and Phil. You're the only one with los cojones to actually jump out of the plane, and in the most unrealistic thing in the show so far, you're able to pull out your phone and hear and see a video voicemail from Mandy. She doesn't say anything important, so you put your phone away. Sam is a little jealous after attempting to trivialize your skydive. We cut to the boys and Jessica in the apartment. They're trying to field test which Photoshop pictures would be the most likely to get them laid with the minimal amount of effort. Jessica recommends that they try being themselves. Her feedback is poorly received.
Why don't you guys just try being yourselves?
Photoshop our heads onto our own bodies.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty stupid, Jessica.
Who'd want to see that?
Yeah.
After waking up to another video voicemail from Mandy, where she calls you a cocksucking, whore-chasing, pussy, fucking piece of shit, the scene that follows is another look into Phil's true nature. Hot neighbor asks you to help her with something. Phil insists you handle it, as he has already nailed her, holding up a Photoshop picture of two people having sex, with his head superimposed on one body and her head superimposed on the other. This is super creepy on Phil's part. Yes, it falls into the motif of this half of the episode, the whole deep fake thing. I get it. But why would Phil Photoshop his neighbor and then carry that picture around as he is... But why would Phil Photoshop his neighbor and then carry that picture around as he and his bud walk around the complex? Is he secretly hoping that she'll accost him, accidentally come across the doctored photo, and instantly get wet for him? Well, knowing Phil, he might actually think that that's a good plan. Again, here we are able to continue putting pieces together to get a better understanding of our supporting cast. Speaking of supporting cast, you may have noticed that I haven't really spoken about Jessica yet. And, well, we'll get to her. Hot neighbor invites you inside to kill a spider, and then we transition to you and the gang at the park using Sam's new deepfake videos to try to impress some tail. Things are going well until some guy with a dog walks past. Immediately, all the girls' attentions shift towards the pup and the guy holding him. Now, I already know what you're going to say. That's generalization, that's stereotypical, that doesn't happen, and I am here to tell you that you are flat out wrong. I actually cannot count the number of times I will be walking with the girl, either having a serious conversation or a casual conversation, and the second a furry puppers walks by, all of their focus is diverted to how cute the dog is. Granted, this only lasts a couple of seconds, and in my experience, the guy with the dog doesn't end up pulling the girl, but please understand, this depiction of girls and dogs is blindingly accurate. Not for all women, obviously, but enough that I know for sure it is an actual thing. So, points to the show for realism. Phil understands the rules of the game now and figures out that dog trumps fake videos and fake pictures every time. You guys call Jessica to come with you to the dog pound, where we learn more rules about the canine pickup game. You have to adopt a pup, and if you don't tell the girl it's a rescue within the first 10 seconds, you're just wasting your money. You and the crew proceed to shop around and land on a large doggo who is appropriately, or inappropriately, named Chill. Using him to score chicks doesn't work out the way the boys had hoped, and they head back home, only to discover someone already inside. Yes, you guessed it. It's Mandy. And you know what she's here to do? Correct. Manipulate you with sex, but even more. The next day, Chill dies. Sam and Phil share a pseudo homoerotic moment over the ashes of their dead dog. You take him to the park to spread his ashes, and that is when the last rule of the game is made known. Dead dog trumps dog. The spreading of Chill's ashes have made these three girls so sad horny for you boys. Coffee is had, numbers are exchanged, and Chill's legacy lives on through the guy's pitiful attempts at tricking women into sex. Episode 2, Part 2. This segment starts off strong. You and the crew are up to your usual antics, trying to convince women in your complex who enjoy the pool to do so in the nude. The only things the guys end up seeing, though, is Chester's naked body. Oh well, at least the girls were impressed. Nightfall comes, and look who comes strolling into frame from camera left. No, it's actually not Mandy this time, but instead, Hot Neighbor. I really want all of you to appreciate how hard it was for me to not use the Dio reference again. Who is not only down to skinny dip, but down to get her skinny dipped. Some hot pool sex ensues, described to you by Phil, who, along with Sam, was sleeping on the pool deck while you were banging hot neighbor, whose name is Martina, but I prefer hot neighbor. The sex was so hot, apparently, that Phil mistook it for a wet dream and creamed his PJs. This brings Sam to the realization he's never had a wet dream, and the only way to have one is to stop masturbating until it happens. Sam removes all of the porno from the apartment, which Phil isn't happy about, but before the conversation can go on for too long, Chester shoots Sam right in the dick with a paintball gun. This catalyzes the paintball fight that ensues. I'm going to play this next clip in its entirety. It's just so goddamn funny.
We cannot go to that party. What if some girl tries to, jerk me off?
Wait, what was that?
What? Jerk me off.
Oh, we are not done talking about that.
It's nothing to talk about. When you get down and dirty and you just...
Hey, hottie. Why is it so hot in here? Maybe it's because you look so hot.
Really? He doesn't look at all like the guy who keeps trying to dump you?
Phil, why don't you suck a so your mouth has something to do?
Uncoil yours and I'll go to town, Mandy.
What did I do?
Baby, Mandy Cat needs a favor. I just shot my audition tape for The Real World. Could you upload it for me? Thanks.
You look like you got bukkakied by a bunch of clowns.
I know. Can we watch that?
There's also this nice visual gag that shows Phil fidgeting with a bag of weed, and you can even see a bong on the table. This was 2009, folks, on television. Very progressive stuff. And yes, Sam is doing a Rubik's Cube solving gesture to illustrate how he perceives getting his rocks off. Unlike Sam, this episode blows its wad right here. I think that the previous interactions between Phil and Sam and then Phil and Mandy is the second best part of this half of the episode that's funny without being what I can only assume is purposefully cringe. You guys head to the party, learn that Phil hates Jonathan Lipnicki for piping his girlfriend from the back when Lipnicki was only 12. Sam gets completely shit-faced, and Mandy has stalked you and tracked you down yet again. Jessica's friend, I think her name is Sasha, tells you two important things. That her and all of Jessica's other friends can't wait for her to dump her boyfriend Chad. God, what a fucking douchebag name. To get with you, and that she knows Lipnicki and that this guy is totally not him. Sam, now passed out on the coat bed, gets his nocturnal emission. Everyone records it happening, and once he awakes from his sticky slumber, you guys leave the party. But not before Lipnicki walks past you and the crew, unknowingly acting as Sam's surrogate testicle. As a treat for making it through this slog of a video, I'm going to show you this awesome remix Phil made of Mandy's audition tape.
But most of all, I love to dance. Now, let's break it down. Who am I? I'm Mandy. I'm Mandy.
And that, ladies and gentle germs, is the first 2 episodes of Secret Girlfriend. So, let's finish talking about our boys' dichotomy. Like I said earlier, Sam is at the bottom of the food chain. He is desperate and pathetic. He unabashedly leers at Mandy when she enters a room and is clearly presented to be the sloppy, fat one of the group. Phil is above Sam, but not by much. He is desperate as well, but also shameless. He genuinely doesn't care for Mandy and lacks that air of self-pity which one might confuse with confidence. He also doesn't care how low he has to stoop to get into a girl's pants party, and inadvertently does land himself a steady source of lady parts. And for you, obviously, you are at the top. You are the guy every girl wants and every guy wants to be. You never say anything, you just do. And it all seems to be in good sport. You aren't desperate, shameless, or pathetic. But you are kind of stupid. I feel like it's worth explaining. Mandy is not completely responsible for her actions. You do kind of send her mixed signals, like standing up for her at the party, and having sex with her after your dog died. Taking a hard line no stance would be the only way to distance yourself from her in any meaningful way. You seem to lack the willpower or desire to do so. And will this be touched on in the next adventure? Only 2 ways to find out. You could watch the show, which you should do, it's a damn good show, or you could come back to my YouTube channel maybe, leave a like and subscription maybe, comment maybe. It's all up to you, no peer pressure. With that, I want to say thank you for watching this video. Stay classy, San Diego.